Hey everybody, welcome to Backstreet Jelly Roll Cafe. It's Giovanni, your host. We've got an exciting show for you here today. We're trying a wine called Pablo. I like that name, Pablo. It's a Garnacha from the Calatayud region, which is in this country, on this planet, in this solar system, in this galaxy. What? I just want to be specific. Get off my back, okay? I don't know if you think about this. This is something I often think about. I don't know if you guys believe in the whole alien abduction, paranormal, conspiracy theory type thing, but do you think aliens come to Earth and they take a few bottles back to their home planet and, you know, they're sitting over in Andromeda, some M-class planet, and they're eating gach and heart of targ? Wow, I totally just nerded out on Star Trek there. But anyway, they're sitting over a meal and they're drinking their wine and they're saying to each other, oh, it's so Milky Way, isn't it? I don't know, like I think I would do that. Anyway, there's a few things. I was doing some research on this wine and I found some really interesting things about this. The Calatayud region is very distinctive. It's pretty well hailed in the wine community. It's very hard classification to get, as I understand. The DO classification, that is the status. This is basically the organizing body that decides if basically your wine makes a cut for the international market. And these guys are definitely well within that. I was doing some research there. I just wanted to know a little bit more about the terroir. Dry, hot summers, fairly cool winters. Like, I mean, you can expect a good portion of the year to be frost covered. The average temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. An average rainfall of 300 to 500 mils per year. Now, the Calatayud region, as I understand it, is in a large valley with many rivers going through it. I think like 6 or 7 main rivers. And it's a massive valley on a fairly high elevation, between 550 to 800 meters. Altitude is very important. High altitude helps a wine, it allows a wine to strike the balance between residual sugars and high potential alcohol. And that's important. That adds to the complexity of a wine. The cool thing that I liked about this, being from the Calatayud region, as I said, is it's not an easy status to attain, but for vineyards that are over the age of 50 years old, they are given a whole other status, which is Calatayud Superior, which this definitely falls within that. Apparently these vineyards are 100 years old. I was amazed that I was able to get it for under $17, I believe it was, $16 or $17 after tax, which is a great price point. But yeah, without further ado, let's give this a go. This has been chilled and decanted for a little while. Okay, let's give this a whirl now. It's not overly aromatic just yet. I mean, it's not one of those wines you open it up and you know, you can just smell it instantly. It's a very nice bouquet. First of all, the color. I want to talk about the color. We're talking, I would say, you know, if you were to take like a Merlot and squeeze a bunch of blueberries in it, that's kind of the color you'd end up with. It's got this purplish haze, a little more to the red end, but definitely a bluish kind of a haze in it. Medium body, it's very floral. I don't really know a whole lot of flowers, what they smell like, but the way that I would kind of describe it is kind of like a wedding bouquet. You know, you got your roses and baby breath, more baby breath probably. It's got a lot of lime. It's got like this mineral quality to it too, but that kind of that tropical lime smell. Blueberries, a little bit of blueberries, which I guess explains the color. Maybe I'll even taste it. It's like, you ever been making a pasta and you're pouring a bunch of Italian seasoning on it? It's like that. I'd say probably like oregano and rosemary is probably the herbs that I'm smelling. But anyway, let's give it a whirl. Okay, that is a hot wine. I mean, that, whew. There's a few things about this wine. I like it. That alcohol content has got to mellow. That's the first thing I'll say about it. The mid palate is, to be blunt, it's uncomfortable. It reminds me of having tequila shots, you know, where you do the salt and the lime. All of the acidity, all the astringency is focused on the front of your mouth. You know, between your lips and your teeth, and the front of your teeth, and then you've got this alcohol component that goes back, and it kind of hits you in the back of the throat. The mid palate is just a little bit uncomfortable with that sourness and then the height of the alcohol. It's certainly drinkable. It's not a bad wine. The flavor profile that I'd give it, I'm definitely tasting the blueberry that I see and I can smell, but I'm getting this this mineral, coppery, lemon, cranberry kind of astringency in the front of my mouth. It lingers, you know. Apple. There's some apples in there. A little bit of pear. A little pear. I'm surprised to taste that. I mean, I can barely talk. This is a very astringent wine. This reminds me of a lot of Chianti I've had. I would say I like the mouthfeel in this. It's a little bit aggressive though, because as soon as you get it on the finish, like on the back end, I just feel like, man, do I need a glass of water? And now pairing this sucker, what I would do to make this really nice. The first thing that comes to my mind, but this is more of a side dish, I would fry up a bunch of purple, orange, and yellow peppers in a ton of butter with mushrooms, and I would put some of those herbs that I'm smelling in there, like load up on the oregano. There's lots of oregano in there, and you know what? If your wine, especially red wine, there's two things that you can do. You can either contrast the taste, or you can enhance it. If you're going sour, I say go big and go home. You know, like I would go and I would just take a whole lemon and just squeeze it over the whole thing that I'm sautéing, and that would be amazing. But not just that alone. I would have it with like a casserole. My dad, who you met, he makes a lot of casseroles where he'll go into the fridge and we'll have like leftover fish or we'll have leftover chicken, whatever, and then he'll combine it with a lot of potatoes, you know, some I mean, what is casserole? It's leftovers, right? But it's very good. And then you put a bunch of mushroom soup over it and you bake it with lots of pepper. I'm saying like lots of pepper, because what's standing out here is you got the heat from the alcohol combined with this coppery cayenne quality. I want to enhance those things, and I think that with the combination of the fish, and you get you know, a combination of like russet potatoes, sweet potatoes or yams, get sort of that sort of a layer going in there. Am I saying sort of enough? You get that sort of a layer going, and that potato might soak up a little bit more of the alcohol, I guess, but casserole with a lot of cheese would go a long way with this. And then of course you serve that pepper thing that I was explaining, that pepper concoction, with maybe even some hot peppers in there, just a little bit, you know, and then you can enhance the wine. Like, I mean, you could contrast this, but I would almost go to the extent that mellow out that alcohol with the potato idea I gave you, but still bring out the pepperiness, bring out that lovely spice and the the sour, astringent part of it with that side dish where you just load up. I mean, I'm talking like just drench those bastards in lemon juice. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm feeling. Are you with me? I think that it's still going through its awkward sophomore year, but you know, give it 2 years, and I think this will be a great Chianti style wine. I'm going to give this an 88. I'm going to give it an 87. Sorry. No, it's just, it needs some aging. It's a little uncomfortable. It's definitely, like, all of the flavor there has not been diluted or thinned out. This is all of the grape. I mean, the grape is all there, but it just needs to get a little more refined, a little more sophisticated, and not keep kicking the shit out of me, you know. I almost forgot the most important part of this whole exchange. And it's in keeping in line with the kind of wine that this is. I mean, it's a very perfect version of what it is. It's unapologetically itself, you know what I'm saying? Here we go. To a woodworker, paint is the most perfect form of sacrilege. Thank you and take care. Cheers. It's Giovanni!